Hello everyone and welcome. Today we are taking a look at this fancy little attachment for the Aeropress called the Prismo. It is produced by Fellow. They are a well-known manufacturer in the coffee industry, and over the past few years they have put out quite a few products that have caught the eye of specialty coffee enthusiasts. And the Prismo here is no exception. There are several uses to it, and we will talk about a couple of them today. And the first will be what you could call its primary purpose, and that is to create an espresso-style beverage. So how does it do that? Well, it seals on to the Aeropress, like the regular part of the Aeropress would. And once it's sealed on, it has this little rubber piece on the inside that doesn't push out or open unless there is pressure applied. This helps us build up pressures higher than usual for the Aeropress. We extract more from our coffee, and we might even get some crema if we're lucky, which is that thick and velvety textured foam that you might find on a regular shot of espresso. They've got a metal filter inside, which does the trick nicely with a fine enough mesh to catch very, very fine particles. I also think that it's smart to use metal in this case, not only because it's more reusable and less wasteful, but also because paper does more filtering in a way that moves us further away from the goal of espresso. And if you'll remember, espresso normally goes through these tiny basket holes. So in that sense, the metal here is an appropriate choice. So the recipe that they have listed that comes in the box and on the website is 20 grams of ultra-fine ground coffee with 50 grams of water, very hot boiling water, stirred for about 20 seconds, left for another 40 seconds, so a total of a minute including the stirring, and then plunged through. And here is the final product. Now, for those of you who are wondering, I did grind this very fine on one of our espresso grinders. I don't know if that's what they meant by ultra fine, but I did kind of want to compare it with the same coffee and same grind that we would use for our regular espresso. So we'll talk about this in terms of look and taste. The appearance of it, I didn't see any crema really, just maybe a touch of it at the top when I pushed it through there. I have seen some other videos and other people who have got a bit more crema than I did, but maybe there's a little more tolerance. I could go even a little finer, but I didn't really get any, but I'm curious to see how this tastes in terms of extraction and flavor. So that's actually really nice. This coffee I'm very familiar with. It's kind of our flagship coffee that we use in our cafes at Palette Coffee Roasters. It's our benchmark blend. So I'm very familiar with the flavor profile of this coffee, and I would say that this comes through really nicely. It's really well extracted. If anything, it's a little bit sour, a little under extracted. I probably could have used hotter water than what was kind of put in the kettle. Yeah, just overall really nice, really clean. Doesn't have a real silty mouthfeel if you were worried about that with the metal filter. It's not gritty at all. It's just a clean, smooth. It doesn't have as much sort of body and buttery texture as a regular shot of espresso. But it's really quite full of flavor. But before I go on to the next use case for the Prismo, it's important to note that while the pressure does increase, it's not going to really get anywhere close to the 9 bars of pressure that you'll find on the espresso machine. Hence the wording that Fellow uses, like espresso style, and the reason that we didn't see much crema. They know it's not creating the exact same thing, and their main goal instead would probably be to create something that's relatively cheap, portable, and easy to use with low skill. So what's next? Well, I for one don't really use the Aeropress for an espresso style beverage. I like to use it for a full cup of coffee. And that means I'm grinding much coarser, I'm filling the Aeropress almost all the way, and I'm typically using the inverted method. And for those who don't know, real quick here, the main reason that you would use the inverted method as opposed to the regular method would be to give you more control over your brew and to stop any coffee from prematurely dripping through the filter and into your cup. In theory, you could just plunge a little bit into the Aeropress, and that would create some suction and no more coffee would drip through. But there's always a little bit that gets through, and it's less consistent than if you had just left it inverted and then turned it over onto a cup. before plunging. But now, with the Prismo, there's no real reason that you need to do the inverted method, because the coffee won't drip through unless there's pressure applied. So you can sit it like normal on top of a cup, and it will not drip through until you are ready to plunge. For some people, this is a great secondary purpose to the Prismo. It avoids accidentally knocking over the Aeropress when you're trying to do that inverted method and spilling coffee everywhere. But what I'd like to test is if this might affect the flavor of my coffee. If my plunging takes longer and there is extra pressure that's built up, I wonder if there might be some bitterness or astringency from agitating the coffee and kind of forcing it to go through. So I've gone ahead and made 2 cups here for comparison, one with my regular inverted method and the other with the Prismo. I'll give them a quick taste. Honestly, not much of a difference here between these 2 cups in terms of taste, and it's nothing that you couldn't adjust with grind or adjust your recipe for. So I don't think that it's really a deal breaker for you if you're concerned about difference in taste. You probably just adjust your grind a little bit, but honestly they're pretty close. But there was actually something else that caught my eye while I was doing these, which was that the Prismo was actually easier to push down, and the paper was the harder one. Took more effort and more strength, and I thought that maybe the Prismo would restrict and cause more pressure buildup, but actually it was the easier one of the 2, so that's kind of interesting. Now personally, I don't mind inverting my Aeropress, and I've never had it spill on me, but definitely I can see the appeal of just being able to stick this on top of your cup, not worrying about anything dripping through, and just kind of going through the process of using the Aeropress as it was meant to be used without having to worry about any extra turnover, any extra dripping or anything like that. So I can see the appeal, and I definitely will be using this for my purposes in the future, and it gives you a lot more control without having to do any of the extra flips and stuff like that. So all in all, I think this is a really great device, lots of versatility for different kinds of people, and I hope that this video gave you some ideas of what this is capable of. If you'd like to buy one for yourself, I have a link in the description. It is an affiliate link, which does mean I get a small commission for purchases that you make. Also, if you like this content, please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. I will see you all again in the next video. Have a great day.